Hi, and welcome to another episode of Sustainment TV. I'm your host, David McDonald. And before we get into today's video, please feel free to like, share, comment, and subscribe to the channel. It'll help us to continue to grow and improve upon what we do. It's been a while since I've done a build video, and I wanted to do something practical, something that I've actually been able to help several people do, and that is to build a durable bunk bed for a combination twin and queen bunk bed. It's got to be durable, it has to be strong, it has to be able to stand the test of time. I suppose all of those things are related, but the weight capacity also had to be at a certain level. So I said, okay, I at the time I had never done anything like that before. I was eager to learn and to add that to my list of things that I can build. When I first started looking and researching what type of bed would be most ideal for the situation, if it was for a guest room, it would need to be able to accommodate both children and adults. So I ended up deciding upon a twin XL on top, which XL is 5 inches longer than a regular twin, and the bottom is a queen. Ironically, a twin XL and a queen bed are the exact same length. So take you on this journey with me. Between going to Home Depot, I ended up using some recycled wood also from Pallets. Was using that. Was able to use that to keep my costs down, and I like how it turned out. So we'll go ahead and get started here.
I just pulled up to Home Depot. I'm gonna grab some 2x4s, some 2x6s, and I'll probably grab some construction screws too. I know for this build I'll use size 8 screws, size 8 or size 9. They both will work. The tensile strength is a little different, but they'll both work. I'll be needing some screws that are 2.5 inches long, and then I'll have some that are about 1.5 inches also. I won't show much of this process, but all of the cuts of the materials will be listed in the video description. I just wanted to give you a brief talk through of how I build the rails for the bunk beds. Of course, there's a queen on the bottom and a twin on top, so that's a total of 4 rails needed. The rails are made out of 2x6 material, and the inner part of the rail in which the slats will be on is 2x2. I normally would rip a 2x4 just to save a little money, but because I'm trying to save a little time, so I figured I would just go ahead and buy the readily available 2x2s. So each rail is going to be 84 inches because we're going to do a twin XL, which is the same length as a queen. So each rail is 84 inches. However, the inner part of the rail, you're going to subtract 3 inches. And the reason you're going to do that is because on each end, you need to save room for a 2x6 to be screwed onto it. So the rail itself is 84 inches, and the inner part of the rail is 81 inches. There'll be 1.5 inches on each side that would be left to make the end part of the bed frame to it. As far as securing the inner part of the rail, we're going to have some wood glue. A nice bead of wood glue would go down. In addition to that, we're going to use size 8 or size 9 wood screws, 2.5 inches long. Here's what one of the rails looks like, fully assembled. 84 inches long. I have 1.5 inches on each end, ready to accommodate the end part of the frame to be screwed into it. Okay, so I have all of my wood cut and sanded. the corner of the room that it's going in, it looks kind of it's kind of jumbled up in here, but it all makes sense when you see it put together. We're going to start with putting the legs together. The two it's going to have two legs that are 65 inches in length. A leg consists of a 2x6 and a 2x4, and the two short legs will be 32.5 inches, which is basically half the length of the long legs. And it'll make sense once you start seeing it come together. So I'm gonna go ahead and set the camera down and basically you have the 2x6 and then the 2x4. It basically forms a right angle using the 2.5 inch wood screws to hold it together. I've went ahead and done all four legs, the two long ones and the two short ones. Next up is going to be the frames for each of the beds. The twin bed on top as well as the queen bed on the bottom, each one has an outer rail of 84 inches. I know for the twin bed it has a each end is 41 inches in length. Remember, when we put the rails together, we left room on the end so that the ends can butt right against the side rails. I'm gonna secure those with 2.5 inch screws. If you have 3 inch for this, it's optional. I know sometimes there have been some beds that I knew, like if some of the people using the bed were bigger, I would put 3 inch in. But 2.5 inch works fine because of how the bed is situated. You'll see what I'm talking about once it gets fully assembled. These screws are actually pretty awesome also. I know the ones that I'm currently using are made by Spax, S-P-A-X. They've been sold out lately, and so I've had to use some different Deckrite. I think it's D-E-C-K-R-I-T-E. I know they make a pretty good screw also. Both of those are self-tapping. You don't need the drill. That's the bed frame of the twin bunk. Gonna do the same thing for the queen, and I'll be right back with you. I wanted to make one correction concerning putting the frames, the frames of the bunks together. For your 2 corner screws, I would recommend 3 or 3.5 inch. That is what I used. And then for the third one in the middle, you could get away with a 2.5. But you want to get that as secure as you can. I mean, it's not what keeps the bed together. It gives it stability. But once you actually mount the frame onto the legs, that's what gives it the extra added stability. Being attached to each leg, you'll see how that looks in just a few. One thing that I'm using to
helped me with ensuring that I attach this to the same spot on all the legs. I'm using one of the bed slats, which is a 2x6, which is with it being planed lumber. It's 5.5 inches wide. So basically, I'm attaching this frame to the legs 5.5 inches up. So just to kind of get things in place, screw in there. Now keep in mind, I could have this queen bed be higher off the floor. I'm just, for purposes of this demonstration, I'm attaching it at the 5.5 inch mark. So I'll do the same for all four corners. I'll show you what that looks like in just a second. So as you can see, I have it attached to each leg. It almost sits in place like a cradle. You can kind of see it coming together with the larger bunk being on the bottom. It accommodates the queen bed, and then with the smaller bunk being on top, you'll see how we attach the second bunk on top. It'll make sense when you see it. One thing that I did want to point out is on lengthwise of the bed, the 2x6 is in line with the sides of the bed. And the reason for that is once you get things in place and really wanting to secure everything, that gives you more area to screw into, because even with the 2x4 being mounted on it, you still have a full 4 inches of mounting area versus, this way you'd have 3.5. So it's just the little things, but I just wanted to point that out before I continue. Now, with the other bunk being in the air, it gets a little tricky. What I am going to do, I need to go grab a clamp that'll be used to help to secure a board that can rest in place while I screw it down. And also wanted to point out that the top bunk will be 18 inches from the very top on that side, and then on the short side it will be not attached to the shorter legs, but there are going to be additional the 46 and 3/8, I believe it is, legs that will attach to the ends of the queen bed frame. You'll see that once I get it in place. So yeah, this is what I was talking about. I just have a quick clamp holding a block of 2x4 in place, and it's 18 inches from the top of it. That's where the bunk for the twin bed is going to sit. It's going to be the same way on both. I don't have a clamp for the other one. I do, but it's somewhere in the garage. So obviously this is easier if you have someone helping you. But I've done these before by myself, so I'm hopeful that I'm hopeful I can get this done. I'm having to put kind of a kickstand on this side to hold it in place while I screw it down. All right, what I did, I went one better. Not only did I get something to mark it with, I actually found another clamp. So those will be my 2 points that I aim for to set the top twin bunk on. I also have a screw started. So between the screw started a landing point and a kickstand. I should be able to set this myself. Let's see how it goes. So I got it in place. Now one of the kickstands is actually my legs. One of these will go on this end and the other is going to go on the other end. So let's see. I got another 2x4 board that I can use to swap out this leg. And I'll be able to start mounting it in place. You want to make sure that obviously this sits level when you secure it in place. So I'm going to set this on the end so I can see it. Alright, that's sitting level. Let's see where this is. Wow, I actually got it perpendicular to the floor too. How about that? Alright, so I'm going to do the same to the other side. Of course, I can take those clamps off, those pieces of wood. I can go ahead and fully secure both of my bunks to the legs. 5 screws at each. It'll be 5 screws at each leg. 3 will go into the side, and 2 will go into the ends. So other than the bed slats that go in the bottom and at the top, what I need to add is in case this bed was oriented not against the wall, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a safety rail on that top, and then on this side what I'll do is I'm going to attach a piece of 2x4 on each end to accommodate a safety rail on the outside. So I'm going to get all that stuff in place. Let you see how it looks. The one thing that I forgot to mention, as a safety feature, in addition to the screws, the 5 screws that are holding that bunk up on the legs, I put a supplemental piece of wood under there too, and it's held by additional screws. It adds stability to the bed, as well as having 4 additional screws that's holding the bunk. The tensile strength for number 8 screws is around 105 pounds. So between the 20 screws that are holding it up and the additional 8 screws that are under the bed frames with the additional screws, it's not going anywhere. So let me get all this in place and give you a final look. Okay. All right, so I have the bunk secured to the legs. I've set the slats into the within the bed frame. Of course, I need to spread them out and to screw them down, but the one other brace that you need to put on is the brace for the upper bunk. you have this. Well, let me back up and give you a better view. So one side is secured to the long legs, and then the outer edge is secured by the 2x4 legs. Which what we're going to do is we're going to put an additional piece of wood that ties it together from the long leg all the way over to the short leg. I'll put one up and explain that to you. Like I was telling you, on it's even with the top of the shorter leg as far as the outside goes, and of course we're making sure it's level, and it attaches to the long leg also. That gives you the lateral stability that of course the bed needs. So it'll be the same thing on the other side, and I'll give you one final look at it. Okay, so there's the final look of the bed. I still need to put the guardrail on the side next to the wall. I just have to cut another piece of wood for that. But what you'll probably want to do for the bottom slats, you know, these are 2x6s because of the length, and so you'll probably want to put 2-inch screws. 2-inch screws to screw them down to your frame. And then on top, I haven't spread them out yet, of course, but this is pallet wood. And with these being 7/8 of an inch thick, they can be screwed down with 1.5-inch screws. This bed is probably, you can see some nail holes here. I was able to, a friend of mine owns a cabinet shop, I'm sorry, a closet shop, and he gets the longer 8 and 10 foot pallets in. I was able to score some wood from him also. So I would say this bed probably has about 30% recycled materials, which is cool. Keeps it out of the landfill, and it allowed me to keep the cost down. Between the screws and the new wood that I bought, I have about $100 in about $110 into this bed. And you can Google, you know, twin queen beds, and you see what they're running for. And I've had family and friends that I've made them for. They've had any given time 300 pounds up top, 400 pounds on the bottom. So I mean, it's a solid bed. So what I'll do is I'll include at the end of this video, I'll show you one of these that's been painted with the bedding and stuff on it. They clean up pretty nice. So thanks for watching. Please be sure to like, share, comment, and subscribe to the channel. See you on the next one.